Greetings. So, as promised, I'm going to give you 4 tips to having success in riding or driving in UConn's campus. And so the first thing I need to share is my conception of a trip. I think of a trip can be represented in a pie chart, or it can be represented as a cycle with 4 different steps. This video is going to kind of be about the number 4 today as well. So the first step in the cycle is that you turn your app on and you're waiting for a ride. The second step is that you've accepted a ride and now you're en route to the pickup location. The third step is that you've arrived at the pickup location and now you're waiting for the rider. And the fourth step is that the rider has entered your vehicle and you're now en route to the destination location. And then once the rider gets out, you rate them, then the process starts all over again, or the cycle starts over again. And so, without saying, the way to make money at UConn, or anywhere else really, is that you want to make step 4 as large as you can. You want to make that most of the cycle, and you want to decrease the other 3 steps, because you're only making money on step 4. And so with UConn, you generally, I would say you could probably do a lot of the nature of it is that there are a lot of short rides. So you probably could do 3 rides an hour. You're probably driving 30 to 35 minutes of that hour. You're in step 4, and the other 25 minutes you're doing the other 3 steps. So if you're trying to make $30 to $35 an hour, which in UConn is very doable, then you want to maximize that 4th step as much as possible. And so some of these tips are going to be ways for you to do that. So tip 1 is about the number 4. There's 4 hours where you should be riding at UConn. It's on Saturday night from 10 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning. If you want to take advantage of the surge, which during that time can go up to 5x. I've seen it go up as far as 4x, but I have been told that it's been as high as 5x. Yeah, so there are the times to do it. If you're a UConn student, you can give Friday night a shot. During app study, I just haven't seen it surge all that much on Friday nights, and Thursday nights is apparently a big party night for UConn folks. But again, just really haven't seen it surge. Haven't seen terribly great surges. But if you're in the area, hey, it might be worth your time to drive on through and check it out, see how much luck you have. So that's step 1. Those 4 hours are their money-making time. Saturday nights, 10 to 2. Then the second step is knowing when to turn the app off. So I see a lot of drivers out there just driving with surge or no surge. And guys, if you think about it, if you go into UConn and you have no surge, you'll probably remember we talked about roughly getting 3 rides an hour. So let's say you get your 3 short rides. They come out to about $5 each, and you get $15. So, guys, that's not a lot. It's not even worth driving for Uber, let alone driving 40 minutes up to UConn to get that kind of rate. So that's terrible. Now, if you're at 2x, you're doubling that. So now you're not making $15 an hour. You're now making $30 an hour. And so you don't want to drive when there's no surge. In fact, what I would do is I wouldn't flip the app on until you're at 2x. 2x is a good number. 2x is a number that the passengers are going to pay for, and 2x is a number that'll make it worth your while to go out there and do it. You can get up to 3 and 4. I would be careful doing that though, because not taking 3 and 4 rides, but turning the app off until then, because it doesn't surge in the 3s and the 4s for too much time. But also you start getting passengers being leery of paying that. So I notice a lot of cancellations at 3 and up when I'm driving. Like maybe somebody will request me, and then minutes later the request will be canceled. And I've sort of concluded that the passenger kind of realized how much the fare would be, and they figured they would just wait. I also noticed there's a large lull in times for rides during those times, because passengers are, again, a little leery, and they're not crazy about paying those fares. Although, not to say, I mean, I always get like 1 or 2 4Xs a night when I'm up there. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wouldn't hold off. I wouldn't hold off on flipping the switch until you get to 4X. I think 2X is a good place um, to do that, and you'll be compensated well. You'll be able to get that 30 an hour, and if you work that way, usually you're working most of the night. And then kind of going back to the problem is when you're driving with no surge, you can't see where the surge is going. So if there's a rise in the surge, you can't see it. Also, you're now locked into the cycle. So let's say you took a ride for 0 surge, and during your ride it rose up to 2 surge. Well, now you can't really capitalize on that 2x, because you're driving with no surge, and you can't, unless you cancel the ride. But in fact, with the app, you can't even really know if it's rising or not until your ride's over. So it pays off just to even take some time to wait. I'm working on my doctorate, so I bring books and I just do that in a parking lot or something like that while waiting. If you like reading, you can read, surf the web. I like using my time productively. You don't have to, though. But it's more productive to just sit there and wait for the surge than it is to actually be driving for so little. In fact, my own personal opinion is I don't even think it's worth driving Uber at all for that kind of money. Then the next point is number 3 is making sure being able to meet the passengers. That's like really vague. Okay. UConn has terrible navigation. So, if you're picking up a ride on Hunting Lodge Road, Hilltop Apartments, anywhere in the woods, when you take a request, it is not surprising. It won't be surprising if the GPS takes you to the wrong place. And so what I always do is whenever I get a request and it's on Hunting Lodge Road, it's somewhere off in the ether on North Eagleville Road, it's Hunting Lodge Apartments or Hilltop Apartments, I will always shoot out a text quite right away to the passenger just saying, please meet me on the street. Navigation isn't great here, and also I'm in a white Hyundai. And that way, 2 things. First of all, if you're on the street, you can spot them. The other thing is if they're on the street, they can spot you. So if you've passed them, they can say, hey, I think you passed me. If you don't know exactly where they are and you don't see them, then you know you're not in the right place. And so a lot of passengers are savvy. They kind of know where the GPS is going to take you. They're also used to dealing with these sort of issues. But again, talking about the cycle, if you're taking time looking for passengers, then you're spending more time on that 3rd step than you have to. And also, if you wait the 5 minutes and you cancel, well, then you've increased your cancellation rate. And if you're not savvy, you can rack that up really fast. So that's step 3. Be prepared for the poor navigation in this area, especially in the wooded areas. And then the 4th tip is how to handle passenger trip manipulation. And I recently found this out in the code, in Uber's code. Maybe it doesn't necessarily apply for Lyft, but I know in Uber's sort of passenger agreement, any type of manipulating the trip is illegal. And so all that means is that, if a passenger gets into your car and they want to go anywhere other than the destination, or they start asking you to drop people off in like 5 different locations, or if they literally change the destination in the phone, that is illegal. They can't do that. I would handle it 1 of 2 ways, though. And again, this is based back on that principle of the cycle and maximizing step 4. So what I would do is, if you're driving during no surge, which I wouldn't recommend, or if you're driving at a pretty low surge, and you know it's going to rise, then when they ask you, just calmly inform them of the policy. I hear that a lot of drivers are kind of jerks about this, and I wouldn't be a jerk because you don't want your rating to drop. Just explain to them as an expert. You are the expert on Uber. You are the driver, and just explain. Hey, it's actually Uber's policy that that I can only drop you off at the specified location, and I'm willing to drop you off at any location. But once my car stops, then then I'm going to have to end the trip. And just to explain it like that. Now, also what happens at UConn is I have a number of passengers who want me to drop somebody off that's literally on the way, and all you have to do is stop your car, they get out, and then you drive. And in those situations, I really don't mind that. I don't mind doing that. That's really up to your discretion. If that bothers you, just handle it the way I just explained it. But if it doesn't, what I do is I would just say, I'll stop my car for 30 seconds. And if I'm stopped any longer than that, I'll end the trip. And that's going to be no problem. I mean, the times that I've done this, that's no problem. I mean, really, literally, somebody is just getting out of your car, and then you're off. So I personally tend to be accommodating in those situations. That doesn't bother me at all. And then the third situation is if you are at a high surge, like if you're at a 3x or 4x, or I had a case last night where I was at a 2x, but I knew it was dropping. I knew it wasn't going up, it was dropping. In my case, it was the end of the night, so I was thankful to have a 2x, and I knew that it wasn't going to be 2x when this trip ended. And so in those situations, what I do is I just accommodate them. I inform them that the car is going to be moving, so I'm not going to be waiting around for people. If you need to go grab something in your apartment or your room, I'm going to be driving around the block. I'm not going to be parked. I'm on the clock. But I accommodate them. And what that does is, going back to the cycle, you're maximizing max surge. You're just driving longer. And Uber will calculate it. They'll calculate the miles that you drive, and you'll be compensated accordingly. A few weeks ago, I had this happen. It was great. I had some ladies come in my car, and it was a 3x surge, and they wanted to, they wanted me to drop them off at 5 different locations, and I complied, and it was a good payout. And I got, I'm sure the 3 surge had dropped way before the point I was done, but I was locked into a 3 surge, and so I was, so I was getting those minutes, and I was getting those miles. So hey, I hope this was helpful, and I plan to have more of these. But if UConn isn't something that you've tried before, I would encourage you to go try it out. And if it's something that you're doing and you're looking to maximize your profits, I would try these tips to maximize your profits. Hey, subscribe, like, and enjoy. Have a great afternoon.